Many people have reached the point where they don't know what to believe or who to trust. They have grown so suspicious of the world around them that they now assume, contrary to legal instruction, that one is guilty until proven innocent. Such mistrust has certainly been warranted through the awareness that companies in which consumers have long placed their trust have intentionally deceived them into purchasing products knowing that they contain elements harmful to their health. Such mistrust has been warranted in the realization that elected officials in whom we've placed our trust have knowingly lied and hidden facts about themselves that would have altered our perception of them and possibly our vote had we known otherwise. We are justifiably outraged and prefer the course of condemnation and retaliation over forgiveness, especially when, despite the mountain of evidence against them, there is no sense of remorse on their part as they continue to claim their innocence under the law. But that's because the law itself is so full of loopholes that we are convinced that our legal system, our criminal justice system, favor the rich against the poor, adding still another reason to trust no one. Now, forgiveness is an act by which I promise to never use your offense against me as a weapon against you. Forgiving does not require forgetting, for by forgetting, we risk repeating the offense over again. However, forgiveness means that your offense will not be the final word that defines who you are. The Bible speaks of forgiveness through the Genesis story of Joseph, who had every reason to hate and condemn his brothers for selling him into slavery, and in Luke's gospel, where Jesus instructs us to forgive our enemies. Forgiveness, according to Jesus, also extends to those who know not what they do, namely those who believe they are doing what is right and may or may not later discover the wrongness of their actions. An example includes many Nazi prisoners of war who, when showed video of Jewish concentration camps, burned their uniforms and requested permission to finish the war fighting with Allied troops. Or the late Senator Robert Byrd of West Virginia, the longest serving senator in American history, who at one time was head of a local chapter of the Ku Klux Klan, yet who died in office in 2010 as one of President Obama's strongest supporters, and who the NAACP praised as a consistent supporter of its civil rights agenda. Byrd, in a 2005 Washington Post interview, specifically cited his church as the main reason for his transformation. We, the church, have to continually be reminded of the vital role we play in advocating a principle of behavior and way of life that often moves against the grain of popular sentiments and even against the natural impulses of our soul. As Christians, we must inevitably ask ourselves, under what condition would we find it difficult to forgive? And even then dare to respond as Christ responded to God. Not my will, but thy will be done. My answer to this question recalls the life of Beulah May Donald, whose teenage son Michael was viciously beaten, murdered, and whose body was then hung from a tree in Mobile, Alabama back in 1981. Morris Dees, director of the Southern Poverty Law Center, convinced Donald to pursue legal action not only against the murderers, Bernie Hayes and James Knowles, but also against the agency that inspired their crime, the United Klan of America, which at the time was the largest faction of the Ku Klux Klan in the United States. It took nearly 6 years for the case to render a verdict of guilty against this chapter of the KKK and its perpetrators. One of the murderers, James Knowles, who in his tearful confession of the crime and full acceptance of his punishment, pleaded to the jury and especially to Beulah May Donald for forgiveness, to which she replied, "Son, I forgave you a long time ago." The financial settlement bankrupted the United Klan of America, and Beulah May Donald became the new owner of its headquarters. Yet even after this multi-million-dollar settlement that could have been seen as reparations for harms done, would you in her place, would you have been so forgiving? Whatever the inclination of our heart, our disciplined response would have had to reflect the prayerful response of Christ to God. Not my will, but thy will be done. The outcome of this trial didn't change the fact that our political, legal, and criminal justice systems remain racked with corruption and reason for mistrust. Yet ours is a hell with hope for redemption. If we learn to forgive the unforgivable, as Jesus forgave his enemies. Amen.